Namaskar. Hello and welcome to PGurus channel. I'm your host Sree Iyer. This is a very important video hangout because we want to explain the logic and the rationale behind the income tax's actions. Some might say it came very late, but it came at whatever time it did. Now, I have a few observations that will shock all of you. But before all that stuff, we've done a lot of research. We're going to quote a judgment that was issued on the 23rd of March 2016, 8 years ago. The signs of trouble for Congress were clear. It was already there at that time. So it's 8 years for the action to take place. So I'm going to give you all the data in just 1 second. Let's welcome the guest of the evening, Sanjay Srivastava ji. He's an advocate now. He was an ex-IRS officer. In fact, you all know him. He has been on our channel before. He was the main whistleblower in NDTV frauds. He's also done a lot of other things. And so let's welcome Shri Sanjay Srivastava ji. Sanjay ji, namaskar and welcome to PGurus channel.
Yes, namaskaram, vanakkam.
Vanakkam to you, sir. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
So, you should better ask me because I can explain. Otherwise, I can go on speaking for more than 5 hours.
Yes. So I will ask the question, sir. No worries. So first of all, viewers, this was a judgment that was issued on the 23rd of March 2016. It was between the Commissioner of Income Tax, Delhi region versus the Indian National Congress. And the two judges who issued the judgment, Justice S. Muralidhar and Justice 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝘁𝘁. And I might tell you guys that these two justices were appointed under the Congress regime. I want to say all these things. I want to lay these things clear because these are the facts of the case, especially for the Matthew Millers of the US Department of State. You know, you just go and pick up something from somebody and then start reading out the answers. You may want to do your research. This judgment came 8 years ago, and it is whatever is here, written here, and we are going to go through that part. What were the transgressions of law?
I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. Please allow me.
Yeah.
You see the second line of the judgment. The first line is in the High Court of Delhi at New Delhi. Second is ITA 145/2001.
Yes.
ITA is income tax appeal. It is an abbreviated form of income tax appeal. And 145 is the number and 2001 is the year of filing. So this is an appeal which was filed by the Income Tax Department, not by the Congress Party, against the beneficiary Congress Party by the orders of the lower tribunal way back in 2001. And this matter remained pending. It was never withdrawn or could not be dared withdrawn, or finally it matured in 2016. 2004, 2014, it was the Congress Party which was in power. That is very material. And they did not withdraw this case. Please. The Congress Party could have withdrawn this case had there been any substance, any meat. They did not dare withdraw because court would have asked, court would not have permitted them to withdraw. So nobody can say that the Income Tax Department was acting arbitrarily or in a manner which is not required to be acted upon under the law. Please.
So viewers, this becomes even more clear. 2001 was when this case was filed. And for you know, the thing about this whole thing, about Department of State shooting its mouth off, you know, I really am disappointed with you guys. You know, you call yourself the highest form of democracy is being practiced in United States. Don't you need to do your homework? And what about this one Bangladeshi American reporter? I don't want to mention his name and dignify him. What business do you have in all this stuff? At least you do your research. Why do you now look like a fool when you haven't done your research? And we are going to give you even more information that is going to basically, you know, at least shut you up for now. That's what I want to do. Every time these things happen, even in the CAA case, viewers, I got 3 experts to come in and weigh in on why CAA was done and why it was done the way it was done. Here I have an ex-Indian Revenue Service officer. He used to look at this thing day in and day out. So he's going to wear 2 hats here. First of all, he's a revenue service officer, ex-revenue service officer. He's also a person who knows the law because he's now a practicing advocate. So I leave the floor to you. Sanjay ji, 15-20 minutes, I yield the floor to you. Go ahead and tell us how you saw this, how you see this case developing and where things stand today.
See, the law regarding taxation of political parties in India is that is required, necessary to be considered. There is one law in India that is called Representation of People's Act 1951. This is the law whereunder the Election Commission of India, which is a constitutional body, conducts the elections. And all political parties are recognized by the Election Commission of India under that provisions of that law, and they do function and all that. So Section 29C of the Representation of People Act 1951 lays down that any political party, that includes the ruling party or the opposition or whatever, any political party which is considered to be a political party by the Election Commission of India, and if it is receiving contributions, which will include donations, etc., then it has to maintain its books of accounts, get them audited by a chartered accountant, and thereafter they have to submit a report to the Election Commission of India, enclosing that audited report, and similar reports are to be submitted to the IRS, that is the Income Tax Department manned by IRS, which is counterpart of the US IRS. And if they do not comply with the requirements, those requirements are there under Section 13 capital A of the Income Tax Act, then they will have to pay tax on the income. The income of a political party is exempt. That means the Indian state consciously does not charge tax of the income of the political party, because the political activity is considered to be an activity meant for the public at large. So a state does not want to reduce the income of the political party, which are already having resource constraint because of the various factors in India, including the paying capacity of the Indian electorate. So, but they are required to follow certain conditions. And if they do not follow, it's your risk, you pay the tax. In this case, in the case of this particular political party, that is Indian National Congress, which is the oldest political party in India. It started on 31st December 1885. So it is more than 38 years now. So it's a grand party, very old party. So this party also is required. Since you have to maintain books of accounts, you have to disclose all the information, and thereafter get your books of accounts audited, submit a report to the Election Commission of India, and thereafter file a return of income, including your audited accounts, etc., etc. And if it is not complied, then the income tax officer, which is the assessing officer for this, has power in the law to put you on notice, ask you to explain why you have not complied, and if you does not have the valid reasons, obviously law compels him to withdraw the exemption from paying tax, and then whatever is the income, he will charge tax on that. So this is the theoretical position, and that is what the Honorable Delhi High Court has discussed in the judgment, which and two very fine, very upright, very knowledgeable judges. In fact, Honorable Justice 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝗍𝗆 is a chartered accountant himself. So Mr. Justice 𝗣𝗚𝘂𝗍𝗆 knows both the law as well as the accountancy. So that's why this judgment is so detailed and so thorough. So since Congress party did not comply with the requirements of Section 13A as well as Section 29C of the Representation of People Act, 13A of the Income Tax Act, the income tax officer or income tax department issued notice to them. And as they did not have any valid reason for not complying with the law has proceeded against them. And in fact, there is a 4-layer appellate mechanism under the Indian law, taxation law. First appellate is the commissioner called Commissioner Appeal, which is the first appeal court. Against the judgment of the Commissioner Appeal, there is an income tax appellate tribunal, thereafter the High Court, and thereafter the Supreme Court. So the income tax department did not get the desired relief from the income tax appellate tribunal. So income tax department went to the Honorable Delhi High Court. It is not that the Congress party has gone in appeal. The grievance was with the income tax department that income tax department's case has not been considered properly. Aggrieved party was the income tax department. And the tribunal, since the income tax appellate tribunal, which is a quasi-judicial body, and it has all the trappings of the court, it did not consider the case of the department properly. The department went to the High Court, and High Court considered and rejected almost every defense of the Congress party, which, as you have pointed out, para 129, page 63, anybody can read. And this judgment has not been challenged by the Congress party in the Supreme Court, most likely. I didn't find any challenge to this. So the judgment has attained finality. So there lies, so nobody can say that income tax department is indulging in any wrong or any unlawful activity. So allegation of this tax terrorism is probably an academic written by some script writer or some novelist or some story writer is fine. But this does not bear, any truth or any admissibility or maintainability if you consider the facts in accordance with the law of the country. Please.
I briefly looked at page 63, 129, and it says there very clearly that even the amount that you have collected, because at one point of time, the maximum one individual could contribute was 10,000, and then after that it was raised to 20,000.
Yes.
Right. And the court judgment says that doesn't matter. If you are in violation on one section, whatever money you got, it doesn't matter whether individual contributions were 10,000 or 20,000, even those are deemed taxable. So this is why the number has now become 3,567 crores. And for people to not check this data, these facts, and then shoot your mouth off. Sirji, this is what is funny. Germany has complained, United States has complained, United Nations has complained. I mean, there is a limit to this nonsense. You all are looking like fools, guys. You have to look at the law. Yes, sir. Go ahead, sir.
See, a former US president, Mr. Trump, is being prosecuted in US, if my information is correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong on facts. Does that mean that democracy is under danger, or there is some terrorism in judicial terrorism in US because they are prosecuting their former president, very recent former president, the last, outgoing president? Mr. Trump is being prosecuted because there are certain allegations against him. If Americans can prosecute their former president, why can't we in India take action against a law-violating political party? We are also a sovereign country. We are also a democratic country, and we have a rule of law. The income tax department has followed the very strict standards of law. They have issued notice. They have heard them. Just because the income tax department has not agreed to the explanation given by the Congress party, does it become tax terrorism? And thereafter, there has been judicial intervention. There has been judicial scrutiny of the conduct of the income tax department, and the Honorable High Court has found nothing wrong. The Honorable High Court rather complimented, has increased. The income tax department has assessed the income of the Congress party at 1,500. They increased to 2,500. The High Court. So the whole thing is that, as you said rightly, that before jumping to the conclusion and making wild allegations, somebody should have read this. Somebody should have done some research. Somebody should have taken the help of some trained lawyers that what it is actually, unless of course it is a totally bland political statement. I mean, countries do fight sometimes. They try, even it's a friendly slang fest and all that. So if somebody is making a political statement, a political criticism, then it's okay. But if somebody is making a considered legal statement, then this statement is absolutely wrong and unbecoming. It should not happen.
This is what I'm trying to attitude adjust the thinking in the Department of State in the United States. What you don't know, don't poke your nose into it. I mean, if you want to still...
Find out.
Find the facts of the case. This is a 2016 judgment, 8 years old, and the case itself started in 2001.
The allegation is very serious. The allegation by the High Court is very serious that Congress party does not follow the law, did not follow the law. Once you do not follow the law, that is why Mr. Trump is being prosecuted. Because according to the law enforcement agencies of the USA, the state of USA, Mr. Trump did not follow the law. He violated the law. He breached the law. So he's being prosecuted. Maybe he will be found to be innocent. I wish he is innocent. He turns out to be innocent in the judicial scrutiny. But he is being prosecuted because, according to prosecutors, he did not comply with the law. Ditto here. The Income Tax Department has found a case where the Congress party was not complying with the requirements of law. They initiated a legal proceeding against them, adjudicated, considered their explanation, considered the evidence on record, arrived at a conclusion. That conclusion has been tested thrice at 3 stages. First, by the Commissioner of Income Tax Appeal, then the Income Tax Appellate Tribunal, which is the second court of appeal, and thereafter a constitutional court, which is the equivalent to the state Supreme Court in USA. And High Court, the Honorable High Court of Delhi, has not only upheld the conclusions of the Income Tax Department, but has added its own conclusions. This is more damaging. Think of a situation where Mr. Trump is found to be guilty of all those allegations against him by the US courts. And then somebody in India or the government of India says that democracy is under danger in USA because Mr. Trump is being prosecuted and he has been convicted. This is very funny. Anyway, please.
Well, so I was expecting that the Congress party would again, challenge the Delhi High Court judgment and move the Supreme Court. It was expected to happen today. I don't know if it happened or not, Sanjay ji.
But today they have moved the Supreme Court. They have moved the Supreme Court. And the Honorable Supreme Court of India matter has been posted for July. And the government of India has given an undertaking through Solicitor General of India that till the elections are over, they will not recover the disputed demand from the Congress party. It's a gesture by the government of India, which of course there is no provision in income tax law. There is absolutely no provision. Law does not permit. It's an extra legal concession given by the government of India, which as an income tax authority, probably I would not approve because I can't. I don't have the authority. But maybe government has larger considerations. So they have said that, all right, to avoid probably this bickering and all, the government has given an assurance to the Supreme Court of India that they will not enforce the recovery of this demand of 3,500 crores till the elections are over. So it happened.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. Go ahead, sir.
No, it's okay. Please ask.
So now, let us say the Supreme Court, it will definitely be more than one person because High Court itself had a bench of 2. So most likely Supreme Court also.
Supreme Court judges never sit alone. Of course, they sit for some small matter that's called chamber hearing. But substantive matters are heard by minimum 2 judges.
2 judges. So yeah, at the end of the day, they have to still pay. They cannot avoid paying these taxes. I mean, they seem to.
Yes, unless the orders passed by the Honorable Delhi High Court is overturned by the Honorable Supreme Court, which will be only on the legal grounds, because Supreme Court does not go into facts unless that goes to the very foundation of the case. So they will examine whether the order passed by the Honorable Delhi High Court, because under the doctrine of merger, the orders of the lower authority keeps merging in the higher authority, order of the higher authority. Now the Honorable High Court of Delhi is the highest authority, so all the orders of the lower authority, the authorities below, stands merged. It is the order of the Honorable Delhi High Court which is the order operating. So Honorable Supreme Court will consider and examine whether there is any infirmity from the point of view of the law. If it is, probably they will set it aside, maybe remand also. Or if it is not, they will confirm. So once it is, suppose hypothetically, of course we can't guess the judicial mind, but suppose that there is as good chance of getting it confirmed as the chance of getting it set aside. So if it is confirmed and the matter is before the courts in India, you can't blame the Income Tax Department for indulging in tax terrorism or anything. And those who do not know the law, of course, they can say the Income Tax Department is not the subordinate of the President of India. The Income Tax Department has dual capacity. One is, of course, where it takes instructions, orders from the President of India. Second, it is a statutory body which functions directly under the authority of the Parliament of India. Now, this taxation business is under the Parliament of India, Article 265 of the Indian Constitution. It is not under Article 53 of the Indian Constitution, where the executive powers of the Union of India is vested in the President of India. So you are also, negating or even insulting the Parliament of India, the supreme legislative body. The Parliament of India has given the particular responsibility, and most of the time income tax officers, they act very independently because they are judicial officers. They conduct judicial proceedings. Section 136 of the income tax is very clear. So once they're conducting judicial proceedings, they don't take orders from the superiors or anybody else. They decide in their own judgment. Of course, one or two aberrations can always be there, but that does not mean you will criticize the entire organization. And
Yes,
you are
indeed.
not pointing out any aberration. Please.
Yes, indeed. And Sanjay ji, we have a few questions from our viewers. Perhaps we can take those things now. Just 2 or 3 questions.
Sure, no issue.
Venkatraman Iyer wants to know, why is this leniency shown towards the Congress party by the Government of India when they have agreed to wait until June for them to pay the IT dues? They have looted the country all these years.
I mean, Mr. Iyer is probably slightly emotional. We are not concerned, the Income Tax Department is not concerned whether somebody has looted or not looted. It simply says, if you are a political party, you have to follow certain conditions to get exempted from paying tax. You have not followed those conditions, so you have to pay tax because exemption is withdrawn. This has stood the test of judicial scrutiny in the first stage, second stage, and third stage. Matter is in the fourth and final stage. Government is probably not showing leniency. It could be consideration of the government to give them a long rope. Not necessarily convenient, I mean, leniency, a long rope. Okay, try your lucks before the Honorable Supreme Court of India also. Or maybe government is very confident that government will succeed. Or Income Tax Department will be able to defend the order of the Honorable Delhi High Court. So sometimes you indulge also. Sometimes you indulge the lawbreaker also, just to make him realize that you can't run away from the law.
Next question from Chaitanya Takle. On a lighter note, did Mr. Kejriwal ever work under you in IRS?
No, he didn't work under me. Rather, he didn't work with me also, but his wife worked with me. We were colleagues. Now, Ms. Sunita Kejriwal was my colleague at some point of time. She was a good officer, by the way, and a very good, decent human being also. I have all the positive regards for her.
Well, with that, our talk about this income tax ruling and what has happened comes to a conclusion. Sanjay ji, thank you so much. Viewers, you should watch some of Sanjay ji's videos on PGurus channel. We talked about NDTV, the fraud that were there, and many other things. Chidambaram is a dear friend of Sanjay ji. And a lot of the stuff we are seeing, what is happening in the procedure where the Congress leaders are under the dock, has happened because of a few honest individuals, and Sanjay ji is one of them. And he has been, well, let's not go into the other side. He is fighting his own cases now, and I wish you all the best, Sanjay ji. And viewers, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel. Don't forget to click on the bell button for notifications. Namaskar.
Thank you. Namaskar. Namaskar.